Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. We're so excited to have you join us today, and we sincerely hope that you're having an enjoyable and impactful day at Labs Connect 2021. In this 30-minute session, we're going to, let me show you that. We're going to be focused on those critical foundational skills and how learning A to Z helps educators closely connect the science of reading to key resources using Foundations A to Z. I'm Jason Generally, National Curriculum Consultant with Learning A to Z, and I'm joined today by Sandi Reyes. Sandi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks, Jason. Sandi Reyes, and I am a National Curriculum Consultant with the Southeast region for Learning A to Z.
Thanks, Sandi. And we're also joined today by Norma Bartley, who is our Senior Product Manager. Norma will be managing the chat today, so if you have any questions at any point during our 30-minute session, please put it in the chat and Norma will either respond within the chat or verbally let us know as needed. Finally, although our session is only 30 minutes today, this is your last session of the day. So if you have any unanswered questions, Norma, Sandi, and I will stay on a bit extra time to address those. As we get started, Sandi is going to keep her camera on, but since I'm navigating, if you'll forgive me, I'm going to be turning my camera off in an effort to keep necessary bandwidth to maintain quick transitions as we go live. So thanks for allowing me to do that. So let's start with a basic question. And that basic question is, do these student statements sound familiar to you? Here at Learning A to Z, we can help. As educators, it hurts our heart when a child says, I don't like to read. And it's hard to provide answers when another student says, I don't know why I'm not doing well when I try so hard. We understand that many students are feeling this way. Educators desire and deserve targeted support to address these all too common issues. At times, new teachers seem to start with more questions than answers, as we all know. Frustrated teachers are wondering, many of my students are trying so hard, why isn't it clicking? And so we created Foundations A to Z to help you find solutions to these very difficult questions. Because literacy truly does start here with us. Built on the science of reading, Foundations A to Z helps teachers feel confident teaching all foundational skills to create excited and engaged readers. And there are three specific reasons why. First, Foundations A to Z is built on the science of reading and contains easy to use, systematic, and explicit lesson plans. That's key. Second, Foundations A to Z is fun and engaging with purposeful learning for all students. And third, Foundations A to Z supports educators every step of the way with embedded point of use professional development, which we'll get into here in a bit. Now we start by supporting two easy to use pathways for teachers, as you can see here. Teachers may choose a complete curriculum pathway in which modules and lessons offer sequenced, step-by-step, explicit instruction designed with flexibility to assign lessons and resources as needed. Choosing a supplemental curriculum pathway offers access to all grade level lessons and resources, searchable by specific skills, standards, and material types, and flexibility to assign to individual students, small groups, or whole class. Based on the science of reading, Foundations A to Z was intentionally designed based on the latest research and best practices for how students most effectively learn to read, providing students with a strong literacy foundation for success and continued opportunities for skill development and appropriate grade level practice through fifth grade. With Foundations A to Z, teachers cover the 5 components essential to an effective reading program: phonemic awareness, phonics fluency, along with vocabulary and comprehension that's woven throughout the provided lesson plans. We will see examples of the vocabulary and comprehension shortly when we dive into our lesson plans. Each unit includes weekly modules and daily lessons over here.
Yeah, so Jason, can we talk about that a little bit more? Can you pop into Foundations A to Z and we'll show that page right in Foundations A to Z?
Absolutely.
Great, thanks. So we just want to clarify briefly. There are 8 units per grade level, and each unit contains 4 modules. So that equals 32 weeks of instruction per grade. Now, within a unit, the first 3 modules are new teaching, and the 4th module is always a review of the new learning from modules 1 to 3. And here is our first look at how that essential comprehension skill is woven in that Jason mentioned earlier. Notice that for each module, there is a module question. So while students are engaged in shared reading, they're connecting the text to what they're learning in phonics, but they're also engaging in discussion and activities related to the text that are going to support comprehension as well. And you can really easily connect these questions back to those essential comprehension skills. And you can see here, character analysis, sequencing, problem and solution, author's purpose, etc.
All right. Thanks, Sandy. I appreciate that. And as I open up Module 1, there are explicit and systematic lesson plans that easily integrate into any core instruction or literacy block.
Yeah, let's look into the modules and those lesson plans. So within each module are 5 lesson plans. And that makes sense. That's why we call them weekly modules. And here is something I really want to point out as it relates to the science of reading. You can see here that the introduction of new skills follows the science, moving from simple to more complex, with those sound spelling correspondences introduced first in the initial position, then the final position, and then practicing with a combination of the two. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the full scope and sequence in a minute, and we're going to take a peek into a lesson plan. But when we do that, we'll explain the research behind our sequence and the way the lesson plans support explicit instruction. But for now, Jason, I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandy. So as Sandy mentioned, we have thoughtfully mapped scope and sequences that cover all foundational skills from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. Now, each grade level is carefully organized by developmentally appropriate units, as Sandy said, and they increase in complexity from module to module.
Oh, this is the part that really gets me excited. I love talking about this. Jason, can you please pull up the grade 1 scope and sequence PDF, because we would see it better that way. It's nice and big. Thank you. All right, so let's just take a look at the phonological awareness sequence. It's just one of the sequences on the scope and sequence, but it really demonstrates well how we go, again, from simple to complex. So let's take a look at how these modules are laid out. This is grade level 1, unit 1, right, Jason? Okay.
That's correct.
In module 1, phonological awareness, they're first blending onset and rhyme. That's the simplest of the phonological awareness skills. Then in module 2, you see they're segmenting. That's a higher skill than blending. And then in module 3, they are engaged in deletion of onset or rhyme. And this manipulation of sounds is really the most complex of the phonological awareness. And they've built up to it. So now if we take a look, Jason, at unit 2 on the next page, okay, we can see that the first module is going to pick up where the last one left off. And then it also continues with that phoneme manipulation. So now we're moving up in complexity. And it's going to move all the way through the modules up to phoneme chaining. So just in those first 2 units, you can see that progression of skills. Now, this is just one quick example of how the skills from lesson to lesson, module to module, and unit to unit within a grade level are going to grow in complexity following the research. But they also spiral from grades K up through grade 5. So Jason, can we take a peek at that slide that shows those back-end snippets? Thanks so much. We're going to give you a little back-end peek at how our writers were planning for those sequence of phonics skills in grades K. This is a screenshot of a planning document. Now, the first thing I want to call out is that when we designed our scope and sequence, we focused on alphabetic principle. So we sequenced by sound or phoneme. then the corresponding grapheme or grapheme pattern that spells that phoneme. Now, this is the key, keeping a focus on the research, phonemes first. So we'll see the graphemes come up multiple times, depending on which phoneme they are spelling. Also important to note here, the phonemes are introduced in an order that supports the most frequent sound spelling combinations first, with vowels immediately included to allow students to decode those CVC words right away. And the sound spellings are taught so that decodable words become available to students. Now, imagine how engaged and successful your youngest of readers are going to feel right off the bat. But let's take a look at how that looks K to 5. So Jason, let's take a look at that next slide. This is going to give us a preview into growing skills across that vertical progression K5. And again, we're just looking at those tiny snippets as examples. These are screenshots from the first unit of each grade level. And you can see here how it's clear that that complexity also builds across the grade levels, all the way up through grade 5. While there is also review of skills taught in other grades, the focus for every grade is on new phonics content all the way up through grade 5. This is a game changer for our intermediate teachers and students with brand new phonics instruction every week. All right, Jason, you can head back to the product tour. Thanks for letting me take that deeper dive.
That's awesome. That's a great breakdown, Sandy. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so each of the units mentioned even include a built-in review. You can see here at the bottom, a review week. So these spiral reviews provide opportunities for educators to assess student progress, conduct a cumulative review of the unit, and differentiate future instruction.
Yes, Jason, this is so key, especially right now. Not only is module 4 of every unit a review module, but review is also built into the scope and sequence in many other ways within and across grades. So this is going to help accelerate learning. The scope and sequence for every grade begins with a cumulative review of what was taught in the prior grades.
So whether you're looking for a complete curriculum or supplemental curriculum resources, Foundations A to Z supports both pathways in an easy-to-use format. Let's start by looking at the complete curriculum pathway for teachers. Now, to make this a little easier to read, let's look at a sample actually in the platform. So in this pathway, fully articulated lessons help teachers effectively carry out clear learning objectives, providing a guided instructional path from teacher-led instruction to student practice. Let's open up lesson 1 here. Now, we help save educators valuable time by providing short, easy-to-use lessons that clearly outline the learning objectives for teachers and students, and also teacher and student materials, while also providing alignment to state and national standards. And as I scroll down here, you'll see this little accordion. So we're going to take a look at our lesson features within the framework of the instructional cycle for a complete curriculum. First, the complete curriculum lesson features begin with helping teachers properly set the stage for instruction, providing valuable background information to set context and purpose for learning, as well as engages students' prior knowledge.
Yeah, Jason, this is yet another example of how Foundations A to Z is completely research-based. As we all know, the concept of priming the brain has been well researched and the effects of priming are well established. Cognitive operations are supported by neural systems. The connections between the neurons that constitute these systems are powerfully shaped by environmental input. So setting the stage is going to get those students' brains in an optimal learning state for what they're about to learn.
Fantastic. Second, you'll notice a gradual release approach as we provide support for modeled instruction using the I do, we do, and you do approach to instruction.
Yeah, and that's another example of how we ensure we're aligned to the research. While this initial theory was proposed and proven by Pearson and Gallagher back in '83, Many more recent surveys have validated it time and time again, including two of my favorite literacy experts, Fisher and Fry.
Our I Do guidance, as we continue, supports and helps educators deliver explicit teacher-facilitated instruction on a targeted skill, or sub-skill, if you will, such as handwriting and language connections even.
Yeah, I love that this is really truly what is meant by explicit instruction. Nothing is left for the students to figure out on their own.
And while the consistent checking for understanding that you can see here as I scroll down through these resources, it provides formative assessment opportunities throughout each of our lessons.
Yeah, Jason, let's show them the checklist. This is truly the easiest way to record formative assessment that I have seen. Notice that teachers can print it and they can handwrite in it, but it's also digitally fillable. So as you can see, Jason is typing right into it. So teachers can manage right on their devices. This is such a great support for teachers, and it's an easy way to keep detailed data to use for that instructional decision making. Love this.
Right there, Sandy, I apologize. All right, point of use teacher tips provide differentiated, targeted instruction for all students, including, as you can see here, ELLs. They help students make SEL connections and much more. Our We Do guidance and support, it allows students to apply instruction within a whole group or a small group setting.
Right, and this is just one great way that the multisensory experiences are built in. Because you can see right where Jason is that students are working to physically manipulate cards and chips while they work together. So they're kinesthetic, oral, auditory, all built in.
The UDO provides dedicated independent practice time and allows students to apply learning through multiple digital modalities, including, as you can see here, student videos, games, and decodable books, all while allowing teachers to monitor student progress and provide feedback to continuously motivate students.
Such great stuff. You know, the teacher will be able to digitally assign the videos and activities out to students for that independent practice. And it's so easy to manage for students and the teacher.
We even provide closure activities, allowing teachers and students to revisit learning objectives and reflect on relevant applications.
I love this part. It's such an important component of a lesson to truly embed that learning. And it's something we often run out of time for or forget to do. So the fact that it's built in allows for that opportunity for that metacognition. That thinking involves and includes that culturally relevant strategy that allows the students to connect that learning in personal ways and provides opportunities for students to connect with peers.
Indeed. Finally, every lesson has built-in reteach and enrichment opportunities to differentiate instruction to help you meet the needs for each and every child. Let's head back out to the product tour so we can keep moving along. Scroll down so you can see that. All right. Of course, all lessons are available in printable and presentable formats for teacher convenience. And as always, we make assigning lessons easy, saving teachers time. All lesson materials can be assigned to students with one tap of a button, allowing teachers to assign single or multiple lessons with that single tap. You can assign select units, entire modules, or individual lessons to the whole class, a targeted group of students, or individual students based on need and pace. And we've not forgotten about on-demand PD support for teachers. Relevant professional development support is delivered at point of use, resulting in impactful instruction that leads to academic progress. Critical professional development resources are available throughout Foundations A to Z and in multiple formats. Teachers may review expert videos, in which various thought leaders and subject matter experts in the literacy field provide an approachable deep dive into pedagogy and best practices. Teachers can access research articles loaded with highly informative white papers on an expansive range of foundational skills and topics, and can even watch coaching videos led by fellow educators highlighting specific topics, skills, and strategies. Lastly, we even, Foundations A to Z offers podcasts highlighting various high-interest, relatable topics for your teachers.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, isn't it, Jason? Regardless of the level or experience of the teacher, they'll find that like just in time support that they need to teach those foundational skills.
That's a great example of some game changers. We spent a while talking about how Foundations A to Z can be used as a core curriculum, but as we mentioned earlier, Foundations A to Z can also be used as a supplemental curriculum. Choosing a supplemental curriculum pathway, teachers are provided access to all grade level lessons and resources that are easily searchable by specific skills, standards, and material types, and flexibility to assign to individual students, small groups, or whole class. Now, if you're simply looking for the best resources to fit your instructional goals, you may access these easy-to-use main menu to browse resources by applicable skills, standards, even resource collections, which I'll highlight here in a moment. And if you wish to search by resources by skill, simply select the foundational skill that applies and review the associated lesson plan and materials. After your review, you can assign the resources to individual students, small groups, or the entire class with that tap of a button. And don't forget about those helpful embedded professional development resources for teachers as they apply to each skill, of course. Teachers can also easily support their instruction with resources that are aligned to specific state standards and in line with your instructional sequence. Review the lessons and applicable resources and simply assign them as needed. Let's get back into the product. Another great way to search for a resource is to search by collections, and you can see that right here. And you can search, you can investigate collections by grade level text, if you will, as well.
Yeah, I love this. And this is another example, Jason, of that comprehension and vocabulary that we mentioned at the top of the session. They're embedded right into the platform. So this is like just one little sample page to show just a fraction of the grade level text that are going to be included in the product. Jason, can we show them a sample of the word study passage too?
Yeah, you bet. And again, under that collections, you can see word study passages here.
Awesome. This is such an amazing resource where it all comes together. And again, see right here that vocabulary, the comprehension, but they're applying those phonics skills, that connected text. I wish we had time to show more. I also can't get enough of the decodables. But I know you need to get back to the product tour. We're running out of time.
All right, so speaking of decodables, Sandy, we offer grade level appropriate fiction and nonfiction decodable books for grades K to 2 with illustrations and captivating photography that is, it's sure to inspire curiosity.
Wait. Let me say that again, Jason, in case someone missed it. There are multiple decodables per phonics skill, and we have fiction and nonfiction decodables. Amazing. So excited.
Awesome. And finally, let's take a look at the Foundations A to Z student experience. So the student experience is accessible from any digital or mobile device. Students may access assignments via the Kids A to Z digital learning platform, which they are most likely familiar with using RAS+. Students will continue to earn those stars and have access to fun avatars to make learning fun and motivating. In addition, Foundations A to Z has a whole new cast of friends to accompany students on their journey as they complete missions and earn those rewards.
Yeah, aren't they adorable? Each mascot is the lead friend for one grade level, but they all pop up throughout the grades. They were really carefully designed to be developmentally appropriate for their assigned grade level. And not only do these friends provide entertainment, but they also will increase the student engagement. Here at LAS, we all already have our favorites. We vote on it all the time.
We're fighting over it. New student resources are available from Foundations A to Z to support students in applying their learning. Instructional review videos, as an example, are designed to review key lesson content, especially helpful for teachers supplementing their instruction as a way to reinforce content taught from their core curriculum. Interactive game-based activities draw students in while providing critical independent practice to apply to their learning. By the way, these games activate learning in multi-sensory ways and are grade level appropriate across grades K through 5. Formative assessment observations, unit assessments, and beginning, middle, and end of year assessments for each grade level are designed to help teachers make data-informed instructional decisions as they track student progress throughout the year. While student data remains at your fingertips, student data is updated dynamically on each teacher's homepage, allowing teachers to truly use critical data to drive instruction.
Yes, Jason. I think this is truly one of the most challenging parts for teachers. Not only do they need to capture the data, but they also need to know how to analyze the data and create a plan based on the data. So that's why we're so excited about this next part.
Yeah. And from here, teachers may easily assign auto-recommended resources based on your student data, closing that instructional loop with reinforcement or enrichment opportunities.
Yeah, this is going to take the guesswork out of it for teachers and save them so much time.
Indeed. Along with available activity, assignment, and skill reports, a grade level standards report will be available after 1 year to measure each student's progress toward grade level foundational skills standards. Foundations A to Z teaches kids, quite simply, how to.
Oh, I seem to have lost Jason.
What happened? Oh.
Not sure where Jason went, but I know he was finishing up by saying literacy starts here. So before we close out our session, I just have 3 easy questions for y'all. Are you ready? All right, we're going to make it easy. So go ahead and type yes or no into the chat to answer my questions. Okay. Question 1. Can you clearly see how Foundations A to Z was built on the science of reading? Okay, excellent. Jason, I think we did our jobs today. All right, question 2. Would your teachers feel supported and comfortable teaching with Foundations A to Z? What do you think? Oh, 2 out of 3, Jason. We get to keep our jobs.
Sandy.
All right, one more, guys, one more. Would your teachers feel supported? Oh, no, I did that one already. Hold on. Can you envision how Foundations A to Z would benefit the teachers and students in your school or district? Are you already seeing how it could be used? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right, I'm happy. My job is done, Jason. I'll turn it back over to you to wrap us up.
That's great, Sandy. It's great to see all those yeses. Now, I know we went right up to the end of time, but like I said before, we are not going anywhere. Norma, Sandy, and I are going to remain on the call for any questions that you might have, and we're happy to have an ongoing conversation. We're here for as long as you need us. But we do want to thank you before you do get off, if you get off now, and we do invite you to contact your local sales representative to continue this conversation, and we hope that you do that. And we do look forward to hearing from you. Norma, were there any questions in the chat that need to be addressed? Or I'll open this up to anyone right now to put any questions that you might have in the chat. We can have a conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Yeah, most of our questions I've been kind of keeping track of and trying to answer. I'd like to open it up to new questions. So it looks like, here's one. Is there a free trial available that would allow us to explore Foundations A to Z prior to making a decision?
Okay, so I'll take that one. So at this time, the free trial is not yet available, but it will be coming this spring. If you're interested in a little bit of a deeper dive with some conversation about how this solution might really work for you in your classroom, school, or district, we are happy to have that conversation with you. And if you need information on who your rep is so that we can schedule a time to talk and give you a little bit more, we're happy to do that. And also that way we'll know who is interested in that trial experience when it's available this spring.
Fantastic. Sharon's asking regarding the texts, are there text sets so that students can read about the same topic across multiple texts to build knowledge and vocabulary?
Yeah, so the way that the texts are written, they are set to help students answer those module questions. For more traditional text sets, those are readily available in our RAS Plus product, along with many other resources that can support that as well. So our connected text here is really extending the foundational skills support into connected text while building comprehension with a focus on the foundational skills and a touch into comprehension. And our RAS Plus product really takes over from there in bringing the knowledge of the foundational skills into a really focused comprehension study with text sets, close read packs, and other things like that. So again, happy to schedule time to discuss both of those options with you.
Thank you, Sandy. And just to point out, there was a question about, are the texts the same between RAS Plus and Foundations A to Z? All of the texts are brand new to Foundations A to Z. So students, if you already have RAS Plus or Reading A to Z, you will have brand new decodable texts, word passages, and as well as shared texts. Let's see. Any other questions?
I see a question. How does Foundations partner with RAS Plus? So really what I just said, the focus of Foundations A to Z is to develop foundational skills of phonics, phonological awareness, fluency, morphology, word study, vocabulary, those real focused foundational skills with a touch into connected text and deeper vocabulary and comprehension, whereas RAS Plus takes you that really deeper dive. If we're thinking of Scarborough's reading rope, we're thinking about Foundations A to Z on that word recognition side, and RAS Plus really doing a really deep dive for you on that language comprehension side. So they work beautifully together.
Yeah. I would add that for those of you that are really transitioning or just looking for instruction that really is built on the science of reading research, you would start with Foundations A to Z and then shift over or use RAS Plus to reinforce those additional skills throughout a school year, as well as extend, as Sandy says, extend their comprehension and their topics and their excitement to really kind of get at that joy of reading and learning with RAS Plus comprehension texts. Let's see. As an ESL teacher, this sounds wonderful. Just thank you. This is what we've been missing. This is super exciting.
I see.
There was.
Go ahead,
There was.
Laura.
What's that?
I was just going to say that I see a question from Stephanie about a universal screener. I didn't know.
Yeah. So I didn't answer that directly. I was going to reach out separate, but we do not. We will have a beginning year, middle year, and end of year benchmark assessment that will be offered with Foundations A to Z. And that beginning of year assessment is really going to help establish those where students are, where their sound gaps are, where their phonics gaps are, foundational skill expanded gaps, so that teachers, if they choose to use this program in a small group setting or individual setting, they can adapt based on that initial benchmark assessment.
Awesome.
There was a comment Sharon made that I wanted to just kind of read. We're a multi-district BOCES with many different programs that students transfer between. This would give our teachers a way to teach foundational skills, providing common lessons in language when students transfer from one program to another. They would already be familiar with the lesson format and the language used. Sharon, would you like to expand on that a little bit and turn on your camera so we can all see you? This is a great opportunity in a live session like this.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sharon.
Yeah, so I'm an instructional coach for our BOCES, and I work in multiple buildings in our district, and it's just this hodgepodge of whatever teachers can come up with to make up for these gaps in foundational skills, because our students all have significant delays in literacy, like across the board. There are behavioral students who get sent to us from our component districts, and so they come to us with a lot of gaps, even though they might be third, fourth, or fifth grade. They're missing these foundational pieces, and teachers have just been kind of creating stuff on the fly, trying to meet those needs, and this would be so amazing for them to have access to.
That's great. Thanks, Sharon. Which BOCES do you work at?
Broome Tioga.
Nice. You're up there a little bit.
Yeah, central New York, sort of, yeah.
John, thank you, Sharon, for sharing that. John has a question. I believe I heard there would be the ability to monitor progress. Will there be reporting capabilities that can show student growth over time to help inform curriculum decisions? Absolutely, John. We will have a student progress report that will help report on specific foundational skills based on instruction at the practice level and assessment level, our built-in unit assessments at every unit within the modules. And then you'll see progress for those students throughout the school year, and those reports will be able to be shared with administration based on your subscription model, and as well as parents.
Thank you.
John, do you want to anything further, or did I answer your question okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for turning on your camera. Anyone else? Right.
Like someone raised their hand.
Let's see. Who was that?
I just want to know the cost of this program.
So the costs, we should probably, being that we're still in production, we should have a sales director reach out to you directly. If you could put your email in the chat, or just email me separately or individually, I will put my email here.
Okay, I will put it in the chat.
Oh, okay, that would be great. And you
Thank
could just
you.
direct message me if you would like. Thank you, and I'll follow up with you directly. Okay.
There you go. That's my email.
All right, thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thanks.
All right, so I think we're reaching our, Melanie Carroll? Malene? Or Melanie?
Yeah, Maylin. Yep.
Maylin, thank you.
No worries. Years ago, I was able to buy an individual license that wasn't for a quote unquote school. Is that still being offered?
Our licensing model we still are a classroom model. So I would actually refer you to our sales rep to see what is possible, because there's different, there may be different opportunities there based on the need.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, Jason and Sandy, I think we've kind of reached an end point, at least for this particular session. Please invite your administrators to attend the later session, which will be hosted by Sandy and Jason as well, if you'd like to do so. And would you like to close us out, Sandy and Jason?
Norma, I also want to add, hi guys, this is Francesca, one of the co-organizers. We actually have some discussion rooms that are live now if you want to take your conversation over there. There's a few different topics to choose from. You can just go to community and discussions. Otherwise, you are free to join the rest of the sessions. They're more teacher focused, but you know, they're wonderful just the same. So have your pick, but we're so glad you're here today. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Francesca. You beat me to it. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.